I have a super crazy one that is tragic. Like, so I originally saw this on Nancy Grace. And while I don't like a lot of things that she says, this one I could get behind. So there's a daycare in the Bronx this past Friday, which would have been September 15th, 2023. A little boy, a 1-year-old, he died from a fentanyl overdose in the daycare in the Bronx.
Jeez.
It is horrible. His name is Nicholas Dominici. I think that's how you say it. Nicholas Dominici, I believe.
Okay.
Right? Does that look right to you? Anyway, there's a picture of him. He's adorable. But, so, emergency workers arrive around like 2:45 p.m., and there are multiple children not waking up. He's the only one who passed, but there were, I think, 3 more, 2 little boys and an 8-month-old girl. They're all, like, they've all been exposed somehow, and they're all passed out. The others were saved. He could not be. And he had just started this daycare. Like, just started going there. His parents were recommended it by, like, a community center or something in town. And, like, you know, this is, like, his first time in daycare. He's a year old. Their parents take him. It's recommended. And then, you know, like, a little bit later, like a couple weeks or something, he's dead. And, you know, this daycare had just been inspected. Literally, like, a few days before this happened, it was inspected and passed. Well, what ended up happening is there was a trap door in the daycare, and there was fentanyl under the mats where these children were sleeping.
Okay.
That's how they got exposed. Is some kind of dust or something, like little bit of dust, I guess, was exposed from maybe them getting into it, maybe overnight, the kids laying down for a nap or something, and then them somehow getting exposed. They also had pill presses there.
Jeez.
So this wasn't just like, this was literally like a drug trafficking operation. Like, they were selling out of here. They were bringing fentanyl there, powdered fentanyl, making pills, and then dispersing it.
Gosh.
So the daycare was essentially a front.
Yeah.
For a drug trafficking.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. I mean, I'm just sitting here trying to think of what could have happened that caused the kids to ingest it.
I know, that is the question. That's the question.
Because fentanyl isn't like car fentanyl. Car fentanyl is the one that we hear about where if it just touches your skin, or there's even like a little bit of poof of an inhale, you're that's it. OD. Like,
oh, well,
we've
that's
seen
what
that
they're
over
saying.
and over.
They're saying it could have absorbed through their skin because kids' skin is like way more thin, and they're saying it could have absorbed through the skin. It could have been touching something and putting it in like a toy, something in their mouth, and it could have also been inhalation. Like, say one of those bags busted, or I don't know, something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have no idea how it was ingested. I don't think we're going to know for a little bit. But on Saturday, so the next day after, 36-year-old, the owner, Gray Mendez, was arrested on account of depraved indifference murder in addition to drug charges. And also, another man was charged who was renting a room from her. He's 41 years old. His name is Carlisto Brito.
Renting a room, like in that same building?
I'm guessing so, but I'm not 100%
That's
sure.
a really strange setup.
Isn't it, though?
I wouldn't drop my kid off at a daycare building where someone's renting a room. That just... Like, how much background could you look into them? You know what I mean? It's different seeing reviews of a business and then finding out that they're renting a room out where who knows who could be renting that room out? I don't know. It kind of sounds sketchy a little bit all the way around. Now, that sketchiness doesn't justify the situation that happened. Obviously, they're criminals. Obviously, I feel like she should be charged with murder. Obviously, we don't ever want any kids, regardless of if it looks sketchy or not, to ever be put in a situation where something like this could happen.
I know. Trust
but
me.
I'm just judging from the exterior. You know what I mean? Are there signs? Because immediately what I start going to is, look, this crime happened. It is insanely sad, and I feel for the parents, and I feel for everyone involved, and I can't imagine being in their position, but my mind immediately goes to, how can we prevent this from happening ever again? You know, I just immediately go to problem-solving mode. And the best way to prevent it is to look for signs in the original situation. So, you know.
I did watch the press conference on this, and I don't remember his name or his exact title, but he's over whoever was doing the inspections of daycares.
Okay.
And basically he said, these people, these inspectors of daycares are not trained to look for drugs.
Yeah.
And he said,
sure.
you know, like, that's not normal. So he's like, but I guess we need to start.
I mean, come on. It was under a false door. I saw the picture, dude. I think even if they were trained to look for drugs, would they have even found that?
If they knew what the pill press looked like, then maybe. So
was
originally,
the pill press
when the
just
police
out in the open?
no, it was in Brito's room. So the man who was renting the room. So when the police came in, they found a pill press, and then from what I saw, they didn't know where the fentanyl was until they started getting a tip, they followed a tip about a trapdoor in the floor. Wednesday night and Thursday night, they searched the daycare, which is called Divino Nino, and they found this trapdoor.
Oh,
and it was underneath, fentanyl residue was found under the mat.
Okay. So then that makes sense to me. So it was on the floor.
Yeah, so there was residue on the floor. Yes.
Got it. Yeah, that's a horrible situation. I feel for those parents.
I can't even imagine sending your one-year-old is a baby. That's a baby.
Yeah.
To daycare and them adjusting well and everything seems to be going well, and then boom, they've OD'd from fentanyl. And this is a drug trafficking front.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. I couldn't believe it when I heard about it.
To look at the best of a worse situation, at least that's an easy way to go. So it's not like they were harmed physically. They probably just didn't know what was going on, and all of a sudden light and then dark. And the parents are probably going to have a harder time than anybody in that situation. And I feel for them. That sucks really bad. And I hope that we can create systems to prevent situations from this happening again.
Yeah, I didn't know how much fentanyl was found. I was trying to find it. I'm not sure. We can put it up on the screen or something later.
Yeah.
The picture of the trapdoor and like how much. But I really hope they can figure out something to never let this happen again. And I feel like in the press conference, that's what they were trying to, kind of get at a little bit here and there. Because, obviously people in the community are like, we can't send our kids to daycare now?
I mean, there's only so much you can do. You got to remember, that situation doesn't make daycares bad. It makes those people bad. Now, think of how many times statistically daycares are a good thing. I bet statistically it still makes sense to be able to send your kids to daycare. But I wonder those little swabs they have, those square swabs, is there a way that when they're going in to inspect, they wipe a bunch of random surfaces, the floor, the counters, all this stuff, and then test that, and then they could check residue, and they just have that one wipe.
Check it
and
for
they
any drugs.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Are there things like that would help in these situations to cut down from these things happening?
That's a good idea. Also, I think that Narcan should be everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, you just never know at this point with fentanyl and carfentanil where you could get exposed.
Yeah.
We've seen police officers touching stuff and, like, literally ODing from carfentanil.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just think that there should be Narcan everywhere. What's horrible, even more horrible, is when they discovered these babies OD'd, they decided to run and hide things.
Yeah.
Literally start taking the pill presses and or trash bags of stuff out. There was a pill press still found, but they were taking trash bags of stuff out. It was seen on camera or by a neighbor or something like that. They were trying to hide stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of getting the baby help.
Yeah. Yep.
So, like,
Horrible
if they
situation.
and why
But that goes back to what I was saying about bad people, you know?
Yeah, but also how dumb can you be to
Yeah.
have a daycare as a front for drug trafficking and not have Narcan on hand? If you are handling fentanyl at all, why do you not have Narcan around you at all times?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not? Even for self-perseverance. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So dumb. But anyway, let us know what you guys think. I'm really glad they're really digging into it, and catching everybody who is involved. And I'm happy about that.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
Condolences to Nicholas's family. And I'm sure this is, like, really, really, really hard.
Yeah.